Try to wrap your mind around this for just a moment, please. In 2016 and 2020, President Trump never, and I mean never, had leads like this. I am not saying we get complacent. I am not saying that we rest on our laurels, because we absolutely positively shouldn't. We always campaign like we're 10 points down. In fact, the only pathway forward is to grind the existential threat that is the Democrat Party into a dust. Let's use Democrat terminology. Let's fundamentally transform the Democrat Party, just like they want to fundamentally transform America. How about that, right? Let's use language like that. But these numbers are unprecedented. The Real Clear Politics average, Tom Bevan came out and said yesterday that of something like 229 polls that were taken, there were 229 total polls in 2020. 227 of those polls, Biden had a 5 or even 10-point margin of victory in each and every one of those polls on average. The Democrats are seeing these numbers and their minds are blown. And I said this morning on the Wendy Bell radio show, and I think it's important to say again, that once the scales are removed from someone's eyes, once they've been red-pilled, of course, I'm referring back to the famous scene in The Matrix, take the blue pill, stay in the Matrix forever, don't really see the truth, take the red pill, and you see everything. More Americans have been red-pilled in the last 2 months in this country than ever before, which is why I have been talking about my theory about the deep state, about how they operate in the shadows, about how they thrive in the shadows. The more bold they become, the more brazen they become, the more people become aware of their machinations and their plans, and ultimately it leads to their demise and minimal effectiveness on their part. So I'm looking at this, and you're a deep stater, you're thinking, well, why take the risk? We've already stifled a Trump presidency once, or at least in their minds. We can do it pretty effectively again. Nothing that the Democrats are saying, him being a threat to democracy, is true in any way, shape, or form. In fact, Biden's a much bigger threat to democracy. And you look at these numbers, that leads me to where we are today with Biden. And when I tell you that there's something too big to rig, I've been saying this to you for months. I mean it. Because if we show up in droves, of course, all of the Republicans and conservatives and constitutional conservatives and America First patriots, we all got to do our part. We all have to show up, and we all have to make sure that we are accountable for 10 family members and friends to show up on Election Day. Yes, that is our charge. That is our mission. But Democrats are hemorrhaging people who have traditionally been a part of Democrat voting blocs. Latinos, blacks, young Americans aged 18 to 25 are now Trump plus 5. I'm telling you, folks, these people in 2020 were Biden plus 16. That is a 21-point swing in just a few years. So even if the polls are wrong, I don't trust polls. You shouldn't either. But even if they're wrong, these numbers are just a disaster for the Democrats. And now, add to that all of the disaster that is the polling for Biden. He's already struggling. He's already languishing. You add to that debate, scales removed from Americans' eyes. People believe that the media have been lying to them. And part of the reason why the media is now relentlessly covering this is their role in the cover-up was completely exposed. They are not covering this because there was some conspiracy to keep them on the outside. No, the media, and I'm talking the owners of ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, anybody in these traditional legacy corporate media outlets, they know now that more Americans lost faith and trust in them than ever before in the last 2 weeks. It's staggering. So what they're doing is trying to play catch up. trying to pull a fast one on the American people and set the narrative that, hey, no, we had no idea the Biden campaign, the Biden White House was misleading us on the president's health. But of course, we know that's not true. If you watched Wendy Bell's show this morning, I unpacked all of that. Because if you read Olivia Nuzzi's article in New York Magazine, where she talks about a conspiracy of silence around President Biden's cognitive health, well, then she says right there in her original tweet where she puts out her article that she knew in January. She not only did she know, she had firsthand knowledge after a meeting with the president that the man was an animated corpse. That his eyes were open, he was alive, but nothing was behind him. There was no sparkle, there was no glint, there was no shimmer. He felt like he wasn't there. And not only that, she exposes in that very same article, and I don't think that this was intentional. This is how tone deaf many of these people are. But she exposes right there in that article that it wasn't only her that had a personal experience with Biden, but the entire White House press corps. They all knew about it. And I think Commander Melanie, before I came down here, was talking to me about a chief Washington correspondent for the Associated Press or some other damn network, saying that when they were covering the Biden White House, this reporter just got used to, over the last couple years, wearing an audio translation device just to be around Biden in the event that he got real quiet and was mumbling. So you mean to tell me that you, this reporter, knew about this for God knows how long, yet said nothing? I mean, imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine if reporters had to wear closed captioning like for audio help around President Trump because he was mumbling and incoherent so much. It's insane. You can bet your ass that if the roles were reversed, this would be non-stop reporting. I mean, after all, Trump spoke at West Point, was wearing leather shoes with slippery bottoms, was walking down a metal ramp, and God forbid he slipped one time. Everybody out there was reporting over and over and over again that Trump had dementia or some sort of Parkinson's disease or something like that, when in reality, he just slipped. I mean, it's insane.
Mike Lindell here, and like you, I see our country being destroyed daily. We face massive economic issues, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are people in power who threaten the values that have made our country great. Well, I've been a believer in gold and silver for a long time, and I've searched for years for a partner that shares my values. Well, Genesis Gold Group showed me how easy it is to protect your IRA, 401k, or your retirement with gold and silver. Their faith-driven approach to service and stewardship is one that stands out from the rest.
To get your free definitive gold guide and get started learning more about investing in gold and protecting your retirement from uncertain times, visit treasureandtrust.com now. Fill out the basic contact form and a member of the team will be in touch. Again, that's treasureandtrust.com or call 855-625-7760.